I found my first tumor in my right breast when I was 19 years old. Receiving a breast cancer diagnosis as a teenager is extremely uncommon, and understandably so, I was terrified. I didn't even think you could get breast cancer as a teenager. Doctors say you need a mammogram every year after you turn 40. I wasn't even halfway there yet. Hi, my name is Eliza Petersen. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, and you may recognize me as the Meteor Girl from TikTok.
Meteor.
The most difficult aspect of my breast cancer experience has been the financial burden. My insurance doesn't cover all of the tests, treatments, and surgeries that I've needed over the past 4 years. I try to postpone tests and treatments for longer than I should if I can't afford them right away, so I can ensure my family and I have enough money for groceries and necessities. I try my best to provide for my family, but at the end of the day, I feel like a burden more than anything because of the financial obligations from breast cancer treatment that I've had to pay for since I was a teenager. It was 2016 and I had seen a video on Twitter of a celebrity explaining why it was so important to check yourself for lumps or changes in your breasts.
Once a month, you need to cup them. Really grab them and give them a good squeeze.
I figured a quick self-exam couldn't hurt. I found my first tumor right away. I went to go see my family doctor and he told me the tumor was nothing to worry about. Lots of women get these kind of tumors. It's just a fatty tumor. I shouldn't have any cause for concern. But within the next 3 months, my tumor tripled in size. This was pretty concerning for me, so I went back to my family doctor. He said that everything was totally normal, but he would order a mammogram for me just for my own peace of mind. When I arrived at the hospital to receive my first mammogram, the technician told me I would not be receiving a mammogram that day. He said that I was too young for a mammogram, it wouldn't make sense to do one, and he sent me home. I was shocked and really disappointed that they had just written off my concerns completely. I really wanted to trust that the doctors and technicians knew what was best for me and my health. But there was still something inside me telling me that the situation wasn't okay. I went back to my family doctor one last time and he said there was nothing else he could do for me. He suggested I see a specialist if I was really that worried about it. My hopes weren't very high at that point that anybody could help me because it felt like nobody wanted to help me. I was despondent and disappointed about my experience so far, and it felt like everyone was discounting what I was concerned about because of my age. I found a great breast oncologist and went to see him for a consultation. I was immediately brought in for surgery. The tumor's growth rate and location were big red flags for him, and he knew how serious of a situation this could be. At that point, it had been about 8 months from the time I first found my tumor and brought my concerns to a doctor until I finally had surgery to remove my tumor. About 6 months after I had surgery to remove my first tumor, they found another tumor on my other side. That's when they did the biopsy of the tissue in my milk ducts and discovered the cancerous cells. I couldn't relate to my peers anymore. It was isolating. The most positive aspect of my breast cancer experience has been the emotional support I've received from people all over the world, telling me how grateful they were that I was being open and honest about my fears and my struggles with breast cancer and how it made them not feel so alone. I know how scary that first diagnosis can be. It's heartbreaking and terrifying. Seek out a positive support team. If you have someone you trust that you can talk about what you're going through, you won't have to do this alone. For now, it's important that I take this one day at a time. And while some of those days may be much harder than others, it's important that every day I'm striving to stay positive. My journey with breast cancer started when I watched a video on the importance of doing self-examinations. I hope this can be that video for another young girl. If I can help just one person advocate for their own health, do a self-examination, or talk to a specialist, my journey with breast cancer will have been worth it.